And just like this reply says, people have questions. Has this ever happened? Is this coaching or what? How did a 4 seed dominate this much? But ladies and gentlemen, here's where things get interesting, at least to me. This is what really gets me amped up. Let me ask y'all a question. Does anybody actually care that UConn just won the college basketball men's championship and dominated every single team and arguably went on one of the best runs in sports history? Will y'all answer that question for me in the comment section? Because the way it seems to me, nobody cares. To me, what I've seen today in the sports world is everybody's going, okay, yeah, UConn won it. Who cares? Let's talk about the NFL. Let's talk about college football. Let's talk about something else. Now, I am going to be honest with you guys. As far as the national title game itself last night, it was terrible. If you didn't watch it, you missed nothing whatsoever. It was really boring. To make a long story short, UConn jumped out to a 10 to 12 point lead early in the first half, and all throughout the game, even until the end, it stayed a 10 to 12 point lead. At one point in time, San Diego State did cut it down to 5, but outside of that, pretty boring. I enjoyed March Madness, but when you look at the ratings from the Sweet 16 on, they were terrible. And it's very weird because for the round of 64, the ratings were through the roof, but for the round Sweet 16 and on, terrible. But here's the main question I want to talk about in today's video. How does UConn keep doing this once every 10 years? And you know what I'm talking about. It seems like out of nowhere, once every 10 years, the stars align and UConn's basketball team's like, okay, we're about to dominate March Madness, and they do it. There's a lot of scary things in this life. A pissed off and highly motivated Tom Brady. A pissed off Alabama team led by Nick Saban. But the scariest, and I mean the scariest thing out of them all, is a UConn team that is hot rolling into March Madness. How in the world do they keep doing this? Also in today's video, we got to talk about Auburn. Yeah, Auburn's star point guard, Wendell Green Jr., his dad is taking shots at Auburn's head coach. That's interesting. And also Alabama's 5-star point guard, highly touted recruit, Jaden Bradley, he's leaving. Why is he leaving? Well, he's not happy with the program. We've got a lot to talk about. It's going to be a jam-packed video. All right, Matt, blah, blah, blah. Shut up, crap up now. Without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so I say we start on with this Auburn mess first. We're only going to talk about it for 30, 45 seconds because I did have somebody send it to me and I found it interesting. So Auburn starting point guard Wendell Green Jr., pretty good basketball player, just kind of short, and that's always what's held him back. He announced that he's entering the NBA draft for 2023. Nothing really to talk about there. He's a good player. And Bruce Pearl wound up quote tweeting his original tweet and just said, hey man, wishing him the best of luck. He's one of the hardest workers in that coach talk. Well, under that tweet, guess what? Wendell Green's dad, Wendell Green Sr., tweeted LOL in all caps. So in the comment section, everybody's like, oh, he's one of these type of dads. And yeah, you know these type of people. Kind of feel like his dad was one of the toxic ones who didn't like Bruce Pearl and the way everything was going. To be honest, I have no idea what Wendell Green's dad is mad about because last time I checked, Wendell Green played every single minute of every game. I guess he's mad that Auburn didn't have that greatest season. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section what you think that's about. That's all we know. Wendell Green himself hasn't said anything about it, and it's always unfortunate when you see stuff like this, parents acting this way and taking away from their kids' moment, because Wendell Green seems like a humble and great guy to be around. On the contrary, and this is according to Auburn fans, his dad is just controversial and tries to stir up a lot of mess. So I did want to speak on that. Moving on to our second topic before we talk about UConn. So Alabama's 5-star, highly touted recruit, Jaden Bradley, unfortunately for Bama fans, well, maybe it's not unfortunately, I'll speak on that in just a second. He announced he's leaving, or not leaving, but he's entering the transfer portal, which means he is going to leave. As a Bama fan myself, am I shocked by this? Absolutely not. If you watch Jaden Bradley play this year, he did not fit the Nate Oates system. It was a bad season for Jaden Bradley because he started most of the season, but his play every single game got worse and worse and worse, and he wound up getting benched. So he did start coming off of the bench, which mentally that can mess with you, but his play, it never improved. You couldn't even justify putting him on the court at times. The only thing that held him back at Bama was he couldn't shoot. And if you can't shoot, you're at the wrong team. You got to be able to shoot, especially if you're a point guard. Would I have preferred Jaden Bradley to come back next year? Yes, because I still think we could use him, but I see why he's doing what he's doing. I definitely feel like he could thrive and succeed at any other school. He's still a great player. Just got to work on that jump shot. I did see some people try to say, oh, well, this is the fall off of the Bama dynasty. Now all these players are leaving. They're getting arrested. And I just think that's all jokes. I mean, come on now, let's be real. Every single team has players enter the transfer portal. Heck, North Carolina had their best player enter the transfer portal. And to go on top of that, it doesn't even make sense for Jaden Bradley to come back because Javon Quinterly more likely is coming back for his 8th year, and Mark Sears will also be coming back. What does that mean for Jaden Bradley? Well, if he doesn't improve, he'd be coming off of the bench again. It does suck that things didn't work out, but sometimes that happens. You can only play 5 guys at a time. Jaden Bradley, it was awesome to see you play. Wish you the best of luck, my man. But now finally, moving on to the main topic, the main encore, the main reason you clicked onto this video. Let's talk about UConn. Oh man, how do they do this? How do they continue to do this? I wound up tweeting this out last night, a picture of Jordan where it says, I'm back, how Jordan came back. And I said, UConn basketball randomly once every 10 years in March. And that is facts. At this point in time, I expect UConn to do stuff like this. It seems like right when everybody's about to forget about them, write them off, they go, oh, wait a minute. Not so fast. Let me win a title so I can remind you who I am. I've never seen anything like this in any sport where right at 7, 8, 9 years after a team wins a championship, they win another one and go on another dominating run. And ladies and gentlemen, when I say dominating run, does that do it any justice? And I can't believe nobody's even giving them credit for this or talking about this because I guarantee you if Kentucky, if Kansas, or if Duke would have done this, we'd be talking about it nonstop, but since UConn did it, we just kind of brushed it aside. No, this deserves to be talked about. Their lowest, let me repeat this, their lowest scoring game, or my bad, their lowest margin of victory in the NCAA tournament was 15 points. 15 points? And an NCAA tournament in March Madness where we see upsets happen left and right? Remember, parity's supposed to be at all-time high. But don't tell UConn that because they don't believe it. They didn't even have a game where they were close to sweating it in the tournament. I want y'all to think about that. And here's what's even funnier about this. They lost their last game before they got into the tournament. They lost to Marquette. Granted, Marquette's a good team, but they still lost. So I don't know what happened. And UConn had a really weird season because for the first, I'd say 2 to 3 months of the year, they was the best team in the country. Then when they entered Big East play, they hit some bumps in the road. And at one point in time, they were 8-7. I believe they wound up finishing 13-7 in the conference. Still not that good. Well, 13-7 is good, but you get what I'm trying to say. It's nothing great. They go into the Big East tournament and they don't even win that. So there was about a 1 to 2 month stretch where they just look like a good team, not like one of the best teams in the country. But then I don't know what happened. I guess they just turned that switch back on that they turned on at the beginning of the season and they were in kill mode. But ladies and gentlemen, here's where things get interesting, at least to me. This is what really gets me amped up. 13 out of the last 16 national championships have been the top 2 seeds. The exceptions to that rule, the 2011 UConn team, the 2014 UConn team, and the 2023 UConn team. Oh, hey, what do you know? Is that a coincidence? I mean, it happened 3 times. I can't call that a coincidence. I mean, maybe if it happened twice you could, but 3 times? Come on, man. And just like this reply says, people have questions. Has this ever happened? Is this coaching or what? How did a 4 seed dominate this much? To me, I think the answer to all of this is fairly simple. What if I told you guys? Winners win, losers lose. I don't know if y'all think I make that up. I don't know if y'all think I just say it. No, I firmly believe it. It's a way of life. The reason UConn has been the only non-2 seed the past 16 years to win a title is because winners win. It's something within that program. They have championship DNA, and there's a switch they turn on during March. I can't explain it or dumb it down any more than that. That's all there is to it. They know how to make runs. They know how to get hot. It's very similar to Alabama football. Even when Nick Saban retires in 70 years, Alabama is still going to be one of the best college football programs in the entire world. Why is that? Because it's in their DNA. I remember my granddad telling me when Bear Bryant was alive winning all these championships, you had people saying, man, I can't wait for Bear Bryant to retire so some other team can take over. Yeah, unfortunately for the rest of the world, little did they know, Bear Bryant wasn't even going to be the best coach that Alabama's ever had. As much as we hype up Nick Saban, remember, most people thought nobody would be better than Bear Bryant. So is there a possibility that Alabama may have a better coach than Nick Saban in the future? We don't know. But here's what I do know. Alabama is going to be relevant and they're going to win championships for years to come, just like UConn basketball. Mark my words, this ain't going to be the last time UConn goes on a magical run where they're not supposed to win a title and nobody's talking about them within the next 10 to 15 years. They will, let me repeat this, they will do this again. History tends to repeat itself. There's a lot of ways I could chop this up, but like I said, rather simple. They're just really good in March. For example, Alabama basketball is notorious for not being good in March. Since we're talking about Alabama, I'll just continue to talk about them, but on the basketball side, I believe Alabama has only made it to one Elite Eight, and in the Sweet 16 in total, they're like 1-7 or 1-9. Same thing for Gonzaga. Gonzaga isn't good in March. As far as it goes for ratings, they're terrible, but I'm not going to sit up here and explain that because it doesn't need explaining. You should understand why. When you don't have all the mighty Blue Bloods playing in the Elite Eight or Final Four, most people aren't even going to watch. I still watch and I enjoy the games, but most people don't care to watch FAU and San Diego State. Most people out there, although I think UConn's a really good team and I enjoyed watching them, most people don't care to watch UConn. I still thought it was a great NCAA tournament despite the ratings being low. Let me know your thoughts down below, but right away,